Five things every new starter needs to understand before starting their job search. Conversations about mining. Hi, Jess. How are you?
Yeah, good. Thanks, Andrew. How you going?
Yeah, really good, thanks. Yeah, it's been a busy couple of weeks. Gold price has gone nice and high, so we thought we'd do a video for people trying to work out what they've got to do to get all their ducks in a row to get into the industry. So,
Yeah.
number one, we need to talk about where are the jobs. So,
Yeah.
the big thing at the moment is, do you want to cover where the jobs are?
Well, the jobs, as my understanding, which you'll probably explain it a lot better, is really predominantly underground at the moment, and gold and copper mining is where you are going to be finding the jobs. Um, Pretty luckily, at the moment, there's actually gold and copper mines all around Australia. Obviously, WA is, usually the busiest, and has the most mines, but
Yep.
um,
I've
definitely gold and copper mines.
Yep, and I've just shared our page with all the gold and copper
Yeah,
mines in Australia on it, so you can have a look at where they are. And as you can
yeah,
see, there's lots all over the country, and they're pretty much in
yeah,
every state in Australia.
yeah,
Yep. So the two places I would be focusing my search would be the hard rock underground jobs because those guys need
yeah,
bums in seats for their nipper and truck and offsider, diamond driller offsider roles. And then the other place that I'd be hitting
yeah,
up for work is surface exploration. But as we've
yeah.
already covered in other videos, surface exploration, you got to like camping, don't you?
You definitely need to like camping.
Definitely, definitely. So next one is why is there a constant flow of jobs? So this is a big one that we get a lot, that people have problems understanding with with the flow of how it all works. Because what people don't realize is that if it was really easy to do these jobs and keep these jobs, you wouldn't be looking for a job at the moment. The person that got the job 3 years ago would still be in the job and they'd be doing it just fine. It's they unfortunately when people go in green, so they've got no mining knowledge on day one, the industry, so all the employers, they turn over more than 50% of those new starters. That's one of the reasons why we
Yeah,
wrote the training back in the day. We just had enough of people failing, and we just wanted to give people the opportunity to learn what was going on before you're going in. But that's
yeah,
why there's so many job ads. They just churn through
yeah,
people, and surface exploration's even worse. And you spent 9 months as a surface driller's offsider, so you would have seen a few people go
yeah.
through the joint.
So many, so many. Exploration is really hard work. You have to love camping. We had loads of people. I think it was about two out of almost every three where I was there, and we were living in caravans all together. It was horrific experience. The guys I lived with were feral, like it was just insane. They were drinking all night, every night, like it was crazy. It was cowboy stuff. But yeah, we had no people last. We definitely had no females or women last that came in. They would last maybe a couple of days and they would leave. And even some of the really like hardened old guys that were older than me that had been brickies and had some pretty scaffies and concreters, none of them lasted very long either because it really is quite confronting. And if you're not mentally prepared, you don't know what the job's going to be like. You don't know what your living conditions are going to be like. It can be really, yeah, some people just can't hack it.
Yeah, exactly. And it's the same with the underground. People get there, and
Yeah.
the big thing with the underground is that you've got to pick it up really quickly. And learning how to drive the truck, that's not hard. It only takes a couple of weeks. It's learning everything else so they
Mhm.
can leave you alone. If they can't leave you
Yeah.
alone, then you don't end up having a job. And I've done some of the
Yeah.
safety videos lately that explain, being left alone and what the pressures and responsibilities are on all that. So you can go and have a look at those videos if you want to. But yeah, the big one is the pressure of getting the job done. And yeah, people just go tilt because they come from a work environment where if you don't get it done today, you just do it tomorrow. And mining, while that happens, they don't like it like that, and they don't like it to work like
No.
that. And it becomes
Mm-mm.
if your workplace is working like that, it becomes a very uncomfortable workplace very quickly, and they
Yeah.
turn a lot of people over. One of the guys, Andy, who got a job in October using the DIY package, he was telling me the mine site that he started on, the induction that he did. They said from January, the start of 2024 to October, they had 66 new people start on site and 62 of them failed. So it gives you an
Wow.
idea. Yeah, it just is what it is. People jump into it without understanding what's going on. And the best thing that you can do is educate yourself. If you learn how it all works, and I'll just go back into the sharing again. and we'll jump onto our web page just so you can have a look at the training. So yeah, so if you can educate yourself using one of the packages, you can use Jess's three-step plan package that comes with our DIY one and Jess's resume service there. So that's a really good one to do. But if you can educate yourself, that's the easiest way to get one of these jobs because there's lots
Yeah.
going around at the moment. And yeah, it just is what it is. And if you have a look at the gold price, I'm just flicking over to the gold price now. It's $4,600 an ounce if you're going to go down to the Perth Mint and buy one. Buy it. There's lots of stuff around the place. Yeah, there's lots of work around. So if you can show the employer that you know how it all works, then you've got something to offer the employers. And this is the picture with all the mines around the country that are looking for people. If you haven't seen it already, it's just the mining atlas and it's loaded up for all the copper and the gold mines around the country that are looking for people. And as you can see, they're in every state in Australia. And so this is
Yeah.
where you need to concentrate your stuff. So if you can do that,
Yeah.
that makes a big difference. I'm just going to stop sharing and come back to us again. And yeah, and so next thing that we're going to talk about is what training do you need and what skills do you need? So with what we do, if you're going to be on the surface as a driller's offsider, I believe you need a HR license. But if you are going underground or you're going to work in a pit, often you only just need a manual car license so you can use the light vehicles because a lot of the emergency vehicles are light vehicles. So that's one of the things that they need them for. But the other thing that you'll need is a 1 day working at heights, a senior first aid, the mining knowledge from the training. That's going to put you 6 to 8 weeks ahead of everybody else, and that's what's going to get you over the line. But the one thing that you don't need is equipment tickets. And we have to have
No.
another we have to have another chat about that because I had somebody come at me over the weekend about, oh, I've done $10,000 worth of equipment tickets and I can't get a job. And it's like, oh, mate, they can't accept any of those equipment tickets on site. They've got to issue their own. It's the way they fixed safety back in the day. And did you
Yeah.
want to cover the S11 while we're here with it all? Because, yeah,
Yeah, I've had a few people actually recently that had relocated to Kalgoorlie. Awesome. Like they'd had their resume done, they'd done the training with Andrew, they were ready to go. They'd moved to Kalgoorlie and had themselves set up there to start applying, and they'd gone and done an S11 in WA. So, please don't believe everything you read. You don't need a white card generally unless you're going into a construction site, and you'll know because they'll tell you you need one when you apply for the job, but you do not need a white card when you are applying for a mining role. And you also do not need an S11 outside of Queensland coal mines. You don't need one. It is not recognised here. It's not valid. It's not worth the paper it's printed on for you.
yep,
So please don't get sucked into doing that training, or like Andrew said, going and doing 17 equipment ticket operating tickets when you've had zero experience and thinking you're going to stroll into a Moxie job or a water cart job. Because A, those jobs really aren't around at the moment because the surface mining has slowed right down in general. And B, they are not recognised. They have to VOC you on site in a production role. They are not going to, those tickets, again, are not worth the paper they are printed on for you. So please don't waste your money. If you have questions about this or you're unsure of how it works, give us either of us a call. We're happy to chat to anyone. Free consultations. We don't charge anybody to have a chat and ask questions. So please reach out if you're confused about, conflicting information you've been given, because we get this question all the time and it's getting quite frustrating, to
yep.
be honest, because people are wasting money and time and they're not getting work. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
we just had a young fella get a job up in Mount Isa in Queensland, and he didn't have an S11, and he got a job just
Yep.
fine because it was a copper mine that he got a job in. It's
Yep.
only coal mines in Queensland, and if you get it and you try and use your S11 down in a coal mine in New South Wales, they'll tell you where to go to sling your hook because you've got to do
Yep.
their New South Wales one. And yeah,
Yep.
so I don't know how they get away with calling it nationally recognised. I think it's got something to do with
No.
the fact that they've wedged it into the R2 system somehow, the
Yep.
R2 training system, but it's not nationally recognised by any of the mining companies around the country except for coal mines in
No.
Queensland. Yep,
And
cool.
if you're doing it thinking that you're going to come to WA and look for a coal job, you obviously haven't done your research either, because that's not happening over here really. There's very, very little coal. And yeah,
We've
is there
got one
one? There was
mine.
two.
Yeah,
There's,
no,
there's
no,
one mine.
there's one mine and we throw it straight into a power plant. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, it is what it is. It is what it is. All right. So yeah, so definitely have a look at the training. The DIY package is a great way to start, and you can upgrade if you want your resume done from there. But the big thing is
Yep.
if you learn the rules and you know how it all works, and you can talk to them about refuge chambers and stench gas and cap lamp signals and what a heading and what a stope is and all that sort of stuff, it just puts you 6 to 8 weeks ahead of everybody else that are looking for these jobs. And that's how
Yep.
people get work through us. So it's really
Yeah.
important that you learn what's going on. So that's the big thing. Next thing we're going to talk about is number 4 is the resume. So this is
Yes.
Jess's wheelhouse. So I'll hand over to Jess with the resume.
This is my wheelhouse. So this is probably, well, I could give you 20 reasons why I love the package that we do together, but the three-step plan package really covers all bases. It's super affordable and it's amazing for two reasons. First reason is you're going to get to that interview and you're going to be able to speak to them about what's happening using technical terms, and you're going to ace the interview because they're going to be like, wow, this person's going to be super easy to train. They know what they're walking into, tick, tick, tick. Like you're going to get through that interview awesomely. But also all of the keywords and all of the training within, all of how it's all worded and how it's all laid out is also helping you tick those boxes in the ATS system. So that's really what it comes down to. When you're applying for mining roles, your resume has to be able to get through those ATS systems. And there's a lot of things that have to be compliant. The format has to be compliant. You have to have your correct contact details. You have no idea how many people we have that have moved from overseas or moved from interstate and still have all of their old contact details in their resume, and that will automatically filter you out because of your location. And then obviously you have to meet the minimum requirements of the jobs you're applying for. So you always have to have, certain criteria. It has to be laid out. You have to have those keywords and terminologies in there for mining that they're looking for. And then also you want to be that person that when a recruiter or a hiring manager finally does open your resume, they can skim through it and go, yes, 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 that's exactly what we're looking for. Not be confused about when was this job and there's no dates on here. It has to be really clear and concise. So yeah, there
Yep.
is a few yeah, a few rules you have to follow, but having the training on there is definitely a big tick. I really think the combination of those two together we've had really great success since we've been doing it. Yeah, and I just think it ticks all the boxes really.
Yeah, I tell people you've got 6 seconds. When the foreman's looking at it, you've got 6 seconds. And
Yeah,
as soon as they see the training, they're going to go, oh, okay, if this person studied, I might be getting an easy winner here. And it only takes five
yeah,
minutes to work out whether you've studied or not. And just on
yeah.
the overseas phone numbers, I had a guy come through about 5 months ago, and he ended up getting a job with a company up north, but he got offered a Pacefield job with Westfield, and he got offered another job as well. But not before he sent all his resume out with his old overseas number on it. And he sent me an email saying, I'm not getting anything back. I don't know what's going on. He sent me his resume, and I'm like, mate, you got your UK number on it. And he's like, what? No, no, I haven't. And he changed it to his Australian number, his Perth number, and he got a job the next day. They called him
Yeah,
back and said, when can you start? And by that stage, his mate had kicked in and he'd gone for another job up north in the construction side of things. But yeah, he got
yeah.
offered two underground jobs, and he was happy as a pig in shit. But again,
Awesome.
it was just the phone number being wrong. And the other thing is sorry, not resumes, references. If you don't have two
Yeah,
contactable references on there, it'll
yeah,
spit you out of most systems. So you just need to have
yeah.
two people that are going to answer the phone and say nice things about you.
Definitely. You have to have those references. That's another big thing. And people don't understand, you know what it's like when you're hiring for someone, whether you're on site or you're doing recruitment and working out of the office, you've got thousands of people coming in. If I had a candidate that has their beautiful contactable references there and I have someone that says references on request, I'll automatically go to the one with references on first because you're going to save me hours of ringing them. Can I have a reference? Can you send me one? That's another half a day or so gone, especially if you don't get back to people in time. So always have at least a minimum of two contactable references and professional references. Like a lot of people, I'm sure you see the same thing all the time. Like they'll work at Joe Blogs Construction and this place and this place, and their references will be three random mining people. And I'm like, no, but they haven't worked for you. Great having personal references, but you need professional references that you've worked with, whether it's a colleague or a supervisor. They need to be professional references because that's what they're looking for.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. And
Yeah.
yeah, they don't have to they don't have to be from mining or anything like that. And some people
No,
think that having somebody that's from mining that'll say nice things about you is better, but they're just really interested in the fact that you're going to work safely, you show up for work, and all that sort of
yeah.
stuff. But
Yeah.
yeah, but if we used to joke about it, when you see a resume come in with contact, references on demand or whatever, you might as well just write,
Yeah.
please throw me in the bin.
Yeah.
Like it's like
I
because
understand.
yeah, nobody's spending time contacting you to get your references, then to contact them. It's just not happening. Yeah.
No. And
So
then you think too, okay, understandably, sometimes people haven't told their current employer that they're leaving, so they don't want to have a current reference. But at least the two roles before, or at least the one role before, have two from there. You need to be able to contact someone that you've worked for as recent as possible because yeah, you want to know that they yeah, exactly. You want to know they can get along with people, they can follow safety, they're good to work with. And yeah, so definitely please don't put references on the request because you're doing yourself zero favors.
yeah, yeah, it's gonna get thrown in the bin, guys. I'm sorry. I just
Yeah.
want to be a bit of a realist about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, thrown in the bin these days, it won't even make it to the pile because it'll get cold in that system that you guys use now.
It
Um,
will. Yeah, it
yeah,
will. We always have it has to have at least two contactable references. If it doesn't, it automatically gets filtered out. We don't even want to open it. Don't want to
yep,
know.
yep, yeah, yeah, cool, cool. All right, so the last one is how to chase down a job and keep it, because we talked about this in a video a little while ago, but people think that getting the job's the hard bit. Getting the job's the easy bit. It's keeping the job that's the hard bit. In
Hmm.
yesterday's job hunt video, I talked about surviving the first 6 months, and you really have to make it past that first 6 months in your first mining job. If you do less than your first 6 months in your first mining job, you're going to struggle getting another job because foremans have got a bit of an unwritten rule going around the place that if you haven't made it past you've done 6 months in one day, if you've done less than 6 months, then they really, yeah, they're not keen on hiring you because they think that they're just going to buy into more failure, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So, and they don't
Yeah.
want to know the excuses or anything like that, or they just, as soon as they see less than 6 months, like we've even got to the point where we've got somebody a job because we got them to take the 2 months experience that they had off their resume and just put them in as clean again. And they got a job that way after they tried for ages and ages trying to get a job with 2 months experience on there. So it's really important that you do that, and you come up with a decent plan that you're going to get yourself into. So I'm just going to go back to the sharing again and bring up our map. And yeah. So this is the map, and wherever you are in Australia, there's jobs all around the country that you can go for, but you just need to come up with your plan. And even if you're coming over from New Zealand as well, you just need to come up with a plan of where you're going to come to get your best possible result. And I think one of the things I recommend most is that try and get all your ducks in a row before you start looking for the job. Don't move to
Yeah.
Kalgoorlie and then try and get your resume and the training done. You
Yeah.
know, do it wherever you are beforehand. I think that's the best advice.
It is, and I think with people too, they sometimes they make it unattainable or unachievable for themselves. Like we have a lot of people from the eastern states or from New Zealand that are like, right, I'm going to FIFO to WA, but I'm going to pay for my own flights, and they hustle and they find a job and they make it happen and they get in there, but then they realize that it's super expensive to pay for your own flights back and forth. If your flights from sites somehow are delayed and you end up missing those connecting flights, then you're missing half your break or you're stuck in Perth maybe for your break instead of getting home to your family. It doesn't happen that often anymore, but it does still happen. And a lot of the sites you're flying to will be on smaller planes. A lot of them private planes as well, so that it does still happen. And then also you're wasting that money, and then you're wasting some of your break. If you're doing a 2-in-1 swing, you're busting your ass for 2 weeks, and then you're spending a whole day traveling. A few nights at home, and then a whole day traveling back. You're going to be exhausted, and you're not going to enjoy it. It's not. You have to make it, doable for you and for your family or your situation at home. I know a lot of people are so keen, I'll do whatever it takes. But like Andrew said, you need to commit to that 6 months. Like you just have to make it work and think about all of the variables in it so that you can have the longevity in that job if you don't want to stay there longer than 6 months. And then you've got the chance to move on to something better, which may be closer to home or easier to travel to.
Yep, and the power dynamic totally flips once that you make it past that 6 month mark. We've got a whole heap
Yeah.
of people that have come to Mount Isa and they've gone there for living jobs, and as soon as they make it past the 6 month mark, because there's so many other fly and fly out jobs around the area that those people could go and get straight away, all of a sudden their living job has turned into whatever the hell you want job, sort of thing.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and and that's the big thing with that. So I'm just going to stop sharing. So we've had a look at that. But yeah, come up with a plan. Make sure that you understand what you're getting yourself into, and yeah, make sure that you work the plan properly. Give yourself time.
Yeah,
It might happen in a couple of days, but it also might take a couple of weeks, or it might take a couple of months. Everybody's
yeah,
different. Nobody has the same experience. But the best way
yeah,
to put yourself in a position to get a job is to be able to walk into the interview and talk to them about how it all works. If you can talk
yeah,
to them about how it all works, that's gonna, like I like to say, that's gonna blow the wind up the foreman's skirt. So yeah, they're gonna be really happy about that. And you got to look at it from their point of view as well, that they're on a hiding to nothing, because like they lose more than they win, because it's just the nature of the beast. So if they can find somebody that knows what's going on, it's a really big no-brainer. And just lately, we've had a couple of interviews that have just been 5-minute interviews. The
yeah,
foreman's known they've done the training. They've asked them 3 mining questions, which they've gotten right. They've asked a personal question, and then they've, like, when can you do the medical? And when you get to the when can you do the medical start stage, that's not a direct job offer, but nobody puts you through a $1,200 medical if they're not thinking about hiring you. So it is
yeah.
what it is from that stage. So yeah. So have you got anything else do you want to add to that, Jess?
No, but just on the topic of medicals, I've had a few people lately actually going and doing their own drug and alcohol tests or kind of medical to put on their resume. What are your thoughts about that? Yeah,
That's
thank you.
yeah, no, no, that's a total waste of money. That's oh my God. You can go back and look at the videos that we've done on medicals, and we've done a few
Yeah.
videos on medicals, but the reason that the medical's set up like it is because the mine owner pays for the medical, they own the
Mhm.
medical. You don't get to see the results. So they just tell you whether you've passed or failed or whatever's going on, but they won't accept a medical done by any other doctor but their own.
No,
So
exactly.
yeah, total waste of money that.
And it is a waste of money because it's a given when you're applying for these roles that you have to pass an alcohol and drug test. So advertising that on your resume always makes me think like, why are you putting that out there?
Yeah,
Why do you
yeah.
why
And, and
why
and
do
it's
you need
not and it's not
marketing
just,
money?
like a one-off thing. Like, they can drug and alcohol test you any time that they want to. So,
Yeah,
it is what it is. So yeah, yeah, no, total waste of time. The police check, the reason that they want the police check and they ask for the police check is because they get a lot of people come through that go through the process and tell them that there's nothing on their record. And then when they pull their record up, oh, there's an assault charge from 4 years ago. Oh,
yeah,
I forgot about that. I mean, how do you forget about an assault charge from 4 years ago? Or they get, oh no, that really wasn't that serious. That shouldn't be on there, or something like that. So that's why they get people to do police checks. It happens
yeah,
to a mate of mine all the time. He gets really pissed off about it. It's like I'm trying to hire you, you muppet, and you're in here with an assault charge. What am I supposed to do? Yeah, if you can't tell them the truth, then that looks really bad. And you also get the reason they get you to do it is because they also get people dodging them up. So that's why when you do a police check, you'll do one. The company that you're getting hired by will do one, and then the company that owns the mine site will do one when you get to site as well.
yeah,
So you'll end up doing
yeah,
probably 3 of them. But yeah,
yeah,
it is what it is. And like I said, have a look back through the videos. Lots of good information about how it all works through there. That's the best
yeah,
thing you can do to do your research. But make sure you do your research before you jump in the car and drive anywhere and try and get a job, because it might be a
yeah,
very short trip. Because if you head to Kalgoorlie, I've got no doubt that you'll get a job. But I can't tell you whether you'll still be in the job in a week's time, because the
yeah,
majority of people that do that aren't. And that's just a fact. And that's
yeah,
one of the reasons why we wrote the training back in the day, because we just got sick of watching it happen. So, yeah,
yeah.
cool. All right. Well, that's the 5 things that every new starter needs to know before they start searching for their job. And if you've got any more questions you'd like to ask, please send them through. And if you could share the video around and like and subscribe the channel. Thanks.
Thanks.